Hey everyone, how's it going? You already know who this is. It is me. I am me, and today I'm going to teach you how to do an esports type of banner. This is a Fortnite banner, but of course you can do it with any style you want. You could put in images of like a particular player or person. It doesn't matter, but we're just going to be using a Fortnite render here, but make sure you do check it out. There is a PSD and pay hip if you want to buy it and you don't want to go through the pain of making it and just save yourself some time. Should be $5 or $6, I don't know how much. And also help me, because if you buy it, that helps me pay for college, and my debt is crippling. So if you could take a look, that'd be A1. But if not, I understand, that's fine. Just leaving a like and subscribing would be just as good. Well, not as good, but it would also make me very happy. And yeah, let's get going. So pretty much we have a render here, and we're just going to plop it in and hit that half circle in the bottom right and hit hue and saturation. Then you're going to go to every single slider except for the blue and cyan slider, and you're going to turn the saturation all the way down. Alright, and so what we pretty much just did was made it black and white except for the blue areas. And yeah, that's about it, but make sure that actual clip is a clipping mask. So you just right click on that layer and you make sure you hit create clipping mask, and what that will do is that will make sure the effects go onto the render itself, but make sure your hue and saturation layer is above the render. And then after that, just brightness and contrast, and make that a clipping mask as well. Just hit the same half circle and hit brightness and contrast, pretty self-explanatory. And just whatever you want to do with the render, I added a bit more brightness and a bit more contrast. Then after that, I hit the half circle again, hit solid color, and then I'm going with a nice black color. And on top of that, solid color, and I'm going to make a nice white color. Alright, now time to add a little bit of shadowing and highlights and color onto our render here. So pretty much you're going to create clipping masks like you did before, but with a blank layer. So hit that in the bottom right, there's the page with the plus on it, hit that, right click, create clipping mask. Then I'm adding some shadows here. I get a soft black brush, and then I'm just going to paint in some spots and set a lot of them to soft light. And I'm going to do the same with a white brush, and if you want, you could do it with a blue brush too. But you can go with soft light, you can go with overlay, you can go with hard light, you can do normal and turn the opacity down, whatever looks best. I'm just painting around it, and soft light and overlay give it some nice contrast that makes it interesting against the white background. Alright, and once you have your shadows, select everything, and then just make it whatever size you want. Hit Control T to do that, and then transform it to either the right or the left, whatever looks best for you. Alright, then after that, we're going to go down here, select a lower layer, hit solid color, and then select a blue and make it a nice dark blue. This is only going to be on one half the side, not the whole thing, but make sure you have your blue selected, hit right click on that layer, hit convert to smart object, right click again, and then select rasterize layer. This will make it editable. Then after that, we're going to make sure it's only on the left side, so we're going to get our polygonal lasso tool and just crop out the right side by just selecting it and then hitting backspace on the keyboard and then Control D to deselect. And after that, we'll have the left being blue and the right being white. Of course, make sure this is behind your render. Alright, and then after that, you get a halftone. If you don't know how to get a halftone, search it up on Google, make sure it's free for commercial or Creative Commons license, whichever one you're using it for, and you're just going to add it in. I'm making it very large, and then I'm just going to do some cropping right here with the polygonal lasso tool and just crop out some chunks, and I'm going to do the same with other things as well. And then right here, as you can see, I did make them sort of rectangular, and then I'm going to right click on these, hit blending options, and then select color overlay. Select a white color, make sure the blending mode is set to normal, and you're good to go. That's how you make them white. Alright, and then right here after that, we just have a sort of paper texture. Of course, this is another free image. Just place it on top of the blue background, and then you can turn the opacity down. You can mess with the blending mode. I think I just turned the opacity down here. This will just add a little bit of texture to this. Alright, and now that things are getting a little dark, I'm just going to make a white brush, make sure it's a clipping mask on top of a render, put in some white spots here, make sure it's set to overlay or soft light, and that'll just bring up the contrast a little, well, it'll just brighten it up a little bit. Alright, here's our typographic map again, or topographic map, and we're just going to take it, make sure it's put over here, right click if it's not white, click blending mode, and then color overlay and make sure it's white if it's not white already. Then we're going to crop this a similar way we did with the halftones as well. Alright, and then you're just gonna make a blue square like this. If you know how to do that, just make, marquee tool, paint it in if you want, or polygonal lasso tool, or just the rectangular tool. I don't know if that's on Photoshop, but it's on Illustrator. But just polygonal lasso tool, paint it in, Control D to deselect, and you'll have that. Pretty much, we're just gonna make some blue squares around here, then we're gonna put some text on top of it as well. Alright, just to have spatial awareness, we are going to start with text right now. So get your type tool and put text behind the render layer right there. So just create another blank layer, get your text tool, put it in, and then we're just going to put in the name of whoever it is. This text is editable when you buy the PSD with a free font. So you'll just have to plop up whatever font you want in, and it will be editable. It will be all perfect to go. But pretty much we're going to go here, we're going to select our font. You can see which font it is right here. I believe it was Myriad Pro? No, I don't think it was. I think I just messed with it, but at the end you can just go with any sans serif font that's sort of condensed and thin. Well, not thin, but thick, but also condensed. Right here, you can see which one I select. You're going to do that, and then we'll go into the next step. Alright, type tool above the blue square, and you're just going to put in whatever you want for that. I'm putting in 5 times World Cup qualifier, and yeah, that's about it. Pretty much you're going to do that. Make sure there's a tiny line under it if you want, and yeah, we'll move on to the next step. This font is called Stretch Pro. It is a free to use font. Alright, and now for the NRG lettering. We are going to make the same font that we did before, at least I think, and then we're just going to put the lettering to the right of the name. Make sure the lettering is extremely high, and then just place it in. You can see we're just going to put it in and write N space R, enter G. So we're just going to put enter between every single letter so it goes down, and then we're going to mess with the blending mode and color after that. Alright, and then right here you're going to see I'm going to put a blue box behind the NRG logo and then paint it blue if you don't know how to do that. Then also I'm going to make the color white on the NRG. Alright, a lot of what I'm getting into is pretty self-explanatory, but we are going to put Pro Fortnite Player up there. Now, the trick I'm doing is I'm using thick text because that's what I want the eyes to go to, and then thinner text for like smaller, more minute details when you get up close. It'll kind of draw the viewer in. So if it's all thick text, you can kind of see it from far away, but if there's small text, they're going to kind of want to stop and look at the work itself. So that's why I put really small text and really small socials as well. Alright, and as you can see right here, I'm just spacing out all of the different socials, and if you don't know how to make them blue, just right click on it, color overlay, and then make sure you hit blue for the color. And then a lot of these, like the Wendy's logo, you're gonna have to make sure everything is not blue or everything, like it won't blend in. So when you are adding the blue overlay, make sure the blending mode is color. But with a lot of these, you'll have to isolate them, and you could just do whatever socials you want. A lot of these you can see right here. I'm just going to color overlay and it'll just be normal right there. Then Control T to make it small. Then after that I will space them out with a sort of grid-like structure. Alright, and then right here you can see a lot of them. I'm just putting in a sort of, I hit Control R to get my rulers, then I dragged in just some short rulers right there, and then I'm just making sure they're all about the size of it, because it is hard to tell if you don't have rulers in. So just make sure they're pretty much evenly spaced out. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm sure a lot of people would want them to be perfect, but I'm just using my eye here and using very basic rulers, and you can be more in depth if you want. But I made them start and end where you can see them, and then the energy is kind of where the socials will end, as you can see right there. You want to line everything up, as you can see the socials, and then the text at the top are all lined up. The more you can line up text like this and things like this, the better. Alright, topographic map, I'm going to overlay on the blue square right there. I'm going to add a little more text around, you can just do whatever you want. But that's pretty much, those are the basics on how to make a pretty much easy esports header. It'll do the trick, it'll look nice, it'll draw in viewers, they're going to want to look up close to read the text. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, of course, leave a like, check out the PSD and PayHib, and I'll see y'all later. Bye my friends, this has been me, goodbye.